Well, the birds is singing this morning. Awful foggy this morning. And kind of moist. There's a smell in the air. Kind of smells like pine trees and pine resin burning. Aftermath of a campfire. I'll tell you what it kind of smells like to me. It smells kind of like the political endeavors of Justin Trudeau. In other words, it stinks. These political professionals that hold office, that claim that they're so powerful and they've got so much clout and pull and know-how to do things, you'd think that they could manage their forest and keep all the fire bugs at bay. Because when the country's burning down, I don't think it's all due to lightning strikes. I think it's due to domestic and foreign terrorists in this country, and other countries, mind you, that is out here setting forest fires and burning stuff down. It don't take a rocket scientist to figure stuff like that out. The people of the world's going to have to wake up. You've got billions of people, and you've got a little bitty handful of political leaders that dictate the way everybody else lives. It's time for people to open their eyes and take their lives back, because that's the last resource we need, is a bunch of incompetent, immoral, incapable, unstable leadership over the American people and the world, the people of the world. What a wonderful morning. I had a lot of plans to do today, but I don't know if we're going to be able to breathe the smog or not. It really does make me sick. And I understand there's nothing no one can do about all this smoke that's infiltrating in here. And if it weren't infiltrating into here, it's apt to be burning in America and infiltrating into Canada. So it's about as broad as it is long. It's not natural. Stuff like this is, I think, my opinion is, it's intentionally set on fire. You don't have a major forest fire here, and a major forest fire here, and a major forest fire here, and one over here, and then I want to say this keep expanding like the little sparks are jumping from one area to the other. You've got to get real, get off of that boat. I had to spray my beans yesterday evening because of Japanese beetles was making veils out of it, literally. And they'll do it in a hurry. They're hungry. They're hungry. So I sprayed some permethrin on this. I thought that I killed them, but I still see them sitting around on there. Let me grab one and see if it's still kicking. Oh yeah, they're kicking. They're still kicking. What I usually do to test this. And of course, there's no need to worry about testing it. I know they're there. I'll grab this frame and give it a good shaking. And most of the time, that'll shake them off. That's what needs to be done to our political leadership. Grab and give a good shaking. Well, it's got most of them off. I think I may have, let me go see if I've got any of that permethrin left over here. And if I do, without mixing more, and I may mix more if I have to, I'll give them another little spray of permethrin. No, I don't think so. I sprayed them yesterday. I won't spray them till after we pick some. I think, let me go look and see if we need to pick them. If we don't, I'll spray, but I think that they could they could be picked. They could be picked. Most of them will be low. I don't know if they'd be ready to be picked or not. I'll bring a couple or three out and show you, and so you tell me if they need to be picked. I want to get these picked, but I don't want to pick them. I want these beans, I want them to have some beans in them this year, instead of picking them before they have time to mature. 2 reasons. The main one is that if you don't, you are losing a lot of produce. You're losing a lot of food if you pick these too early. And I don't really think they need picked right now. My opinion is they don't need it now, because these is pretty good sized beans. Yeah, it looks like the squash beetles is attacking that squash plant. It's time for them little devils. So anyway, probably forget the beans. If we do anything today, we'll focus on the 2 rows of potatoes. Maybe start pulling the turnips and getting them out of here. And I don't know whether I'll try to till this with the little tiller or just bring the tractor in. I thought about bringing the tractor and chopping them turnips up. Right here, let me get up here where you can see through the smog. I guess you can see. Here is the beans. That's, I can already feel my throat burning a little. The beans. I mean, Vortex. What I like about them is there's absolutely no strings. No strings attached. This is a bean with no strings attached. Let me lay these over here on the porch. I'll stir fry them this morning. I'm just gonna let them sprawl out there a little bit. I ain't gonna try to. Looks like we got some mushrooms growing there. I maybe might tie them up a little bit. I don't like these laying right on the ground like that, but if you pull them too much, they'll just break off. Plantains are growing pretty good. You know, I've got some onions here that's kind of like under stuff. I'm going to show you. I'll pull a few of them here this morning. And I don't like pulling them at all unless they kindly broke over. And got a few, and of course there's some in there that needs to be got out of there because they're not going to mount to none because they're shaded out by this other stuff. But well, I say they ain't mounting to nothing. They're mounting to plenty. They're an onion, man. They're onions. There's some that's been walked over, so I'll go ahead and pull them. It looks like a cow's been wallowing on them in here or something. And then, of course, from here down, I'll just go ahead and pull these and get them out of there. Let's get them out. Now here's some that's actually, let's get these, get them over with. Here, this little section right here. And that's got, 10 foot. 10 foot of them there. It's time for them to come out. No record breakers, but they're pretty good sized onions here. I'll take them over here and get ready to clean them up a little bit in a minute. I'll wheel around here and let you see that. I'm showing you what I'm doing with these onions, preparing these onions to put in the freezer. Just like I said, I'm preparing these onions to go in the freezer. I washed them off, washed the dirt off, and what I'm doing is cleaning these outside here, and that way when I get in the house I won't have to contend with such a big mess, and I'll have them ready to slice and chop. And as far as I'm concerned, there's one chopper that I think everybody that raises an onion should have if they freeze any onions. You know, I can hang these onions, and I've done it before, as I've mentioned before. I can hang these onions up and let them, try to cure them. I can try to cure them. Or I can do this number right here. And be ready when I get in the house. Be ready to chop them. I like to get all that. I want them white looking. You think you're wasting a lot of onion, but if you don't get that outside hull off, it's gonna make big tough pieces. Anybody knows that's ever fooled with an onion. Just whack that root off right there, or the top off, and the root. Just pull that root out of there, and then just peel that old outside paper off. Which by wetting these, washing them like I done, what that does, if there's any of that paper on there that's dry, it's gonna rehydrate it. And instead of flaking off in your hands like they do, you know, they'll just slide right off. It just slides off. Pop that onion root core out of there. Peel that baby back. All of this haze that we're seeing is not all smoke. There's some humidity in there too. But I can definitely smell the sap. The sapwood. It's bad that the place burns like that too. Don't get me wrong, I just get aggravated. Because I don't know. My opinion is that a lot of this is completely uncalled for. Completely avoidable. We've got people out there in this world today that thrive on stuff like that. They thrive on it, man. It's what they do. They're idiots. Believe me, they are. I dropped that one, didn't I? Core that baby out of there, that old root. We don't want to eat that old hard root. I'm gonna take one more layer off, because I don't want that. I don't want that old tough outside layer. See, some of these is little, but they're not going to mount to nothing where they're at. They're basically in the shade where the other plants have grown around them. Take that tip of that knife and go in there and just make a little funnel. Pull that root right out. Get under that green layer. Peel her back out. If you do it outside, you won't cry near as much. There we go. Now, I done a few of these yesterday. And I think we put up last night 3/4, and that was not this many onions. This will put a gallon up easy, I would assume, of chopped onions. But now, you can dry these onions. I mean, I'm not saying it can't be done, but see, that's got a sour smell to it right there already. All this rain we've had, of course, I call them a double yokers. Yeah, but anyway, they will rot on you. If you think they won't, you're mistaken. Now, every one that I do like this, it is going in the freezer. Unless the freezer goes out. I mean, anything can happen. But there's one thing that I avoid when I do this. I avoid the possibility of this onion hanging out here and not curing, but rotting. And the reason I say that is because I've done it several times. I've done it. And I growed these onions to eat. I didn't grow them to hang and let them hang and rot. I growed some candy onions. Oh, I think it's candy. Of course, they may not be a good onion to store or cure. I don't know. But anyway, I growed some of them one year, and they was bigger than softballs. And I strung them up on a ladder under a carport. And of course, after a day or two of checking on them, I kind of just walked off and forgot them. I thought, well, they'll be okay. And I went out one day and going to check them. And lo and behold, they was spongy, soft, rotten, stinking rotten. Stinking rotten. Disheartening. And that's when I told my wife, I thought, well, if we make omelets out of peppers and onions, and we do a lot, it'd be nice to open a Ziploc bag, reach in there and get you a handful of peppers and a handful of onions. And that's exactly what we do. Now, I'm not saying I will, I'm not saying I won't. I may actually, because I've never, the garlic and the onions that I've got hanging out there in that carport, or whatever you want to call it, shed, or is doing well, because they're up high right under that roof, metal roof, and they're hung up. And I'm thinking that I may try maybe one bundle, not many, if I've got plenty. It's according to how many we get here. Some of these onions is split inside. So I try to whittle all that off. I'll whittle her down there, buddy. Get that off, get that old green outer skin off. Now, if you hung these and dried, a lot of this skin I'm taking off would dehydrate down, and it would be part of the paper, the covering, whatever you want to call it. So that's what I do to these onions to get them ready to take them inside and chop them up. And of course, with one of them Vidalia chop wizards is what I use. Highly recommend them. All I have to do, and I'll even wash these here in a second in this little basket. There's no need to pack this mess in the house if you've got an option. Just whittle her off there. Just like that. I'll rinse the mess out here, because there's a mess as usual. And then just take your basket and rinse your onions off. Rinse them off. Outside, not inside. Outside. Good and clean. Now these onions in this basket is ready to slice and chop. Ready to slice and chop. Now, let's get the big debris out. And of course, one fail, I'll go ahead and get it. I'll go ahead and get it took care of, throw in there too. I've got to get me some wood chips here under my feet. That could have been devastating right there. And I know why, because I've got this little old knife that's sharpened plumb to the end, the blade. I don't usually use that one. It'll slice in from the end and go right through something and enter right into your skin and meat on your hand. It will. Little rounded tip blade, I don't like it. It's got its place. I like this one. Square tipped, flat tipped. You know where that tip's at. When she sharp and plumb around, whoosh, it's right on through something. Anyway, that's the deal with the onions. And I'm sure you can probably see, maybe, if I tilt it up a little more without spilling them. Those are gonna go in the house once they drip off a little bit. And I'll slice them, and that will make we can use this, call this a salad spinner. Hey, Lord. Anyway, that'll do it today. The griping about the smoke's almost over. Almost. Goodness gracious. Let them sit there a minute. You see, just right there to the greenhouse, just around, you can see the haze up in the woods. Look at that. Look at that. But anyway, we'll see after a while what she does. I hope this burns off and blows away. You never know, do you, what'll happen. Yeah, they are pretty, the flowers are. Flowers ain't the only thing pretty though. Swiss chard. Now wouldn't that look good in a flower bed there in front of someone's house instead of an old poison flower of some kind? And that way if you ever wanted to go out and get you a bite, something that's just as good to me as spinach. Throw it in a orange skillet, saute it, and scramble you a few eggs in there. I think it'd be prettier than the flowers. I guarantee it'd taste better. Guarantee it, boy. You know, that little bean trellis is beginning to get covered up, ain't it? Who would have ever thought that that would get covered up like that? All right, that's it today.